Hello there. Welcome to the ORIN Oracles Live. Happy Tuesday. It's a beautiful day to be alive. And I welcome you. We're going to be joined today by our special guest, Jerald Roth, Brother Sage. And we're going to have some fun today. He shared a video this morning, and I was writing, and we found that we were really on the same page. It's funny how it works. Like minds, working. And so I am excited. So much has been changing, inside, and I've been taking deeper, longer looks at how I feel these days, and I actually feel really, really good. Life is a beautiful wonder, and it just fills my heart. So I'm going to, there's Jerald. I'm going to see how, let's see, we're going to bring him in, and let's see. Where is he? He's got to join. He's joined. He's got to click on invite, I think. So hopefully he'll figure that out here, and we'll get him. No, he's asking me, how do I join? I think that you need to press invite, and I think that's how it works. So if you don't figure it out here in a minute, I'll see if we can figure it out together. But in the meantime, I want to welcome Andrew and Elizabeth and Bill and Matthew and Michelle. Thank you all for joining us today. We are on a mission. There is a purpose to all this, and that is to continually raise the awareness of urine therapy. It's been a miracle for me, and it's just so marvelous. It's a magic. It's a miracle, really. I don't know how to put it into better words than that. It's changed my life completely for the better. I've healed so many things, and I've left that all behind. Who I was before urine therapy is just really somebody I used to know. And I let that person go with love, because what's emerging now is just more awakening, I suppose. It's just the feeling that every new day brings me a opportunity, a greater gift of awareness and understanding. More succinctly, and understanding. So I'm still looking for yeah.
You can't split screen on the laptop.
Well, I've just been informed by my tech advisor that I can't split screen on my laptop. So bear with me, and we'll see if we can't correct that. I'm gonna ask Daniel to help me here for a minute, if you will. Will you set me up on my phone, please?
It's awesome.
So yeah, we'll get it together here. You know, I'm no tech whiz. I'll be the first to admit that. You know, I'm learning. I'm doing the best I can every day to improve my skills. And I'm still just a child of wonder, quite frankly. And I wonder all the time about what is really so. And so I ask many questions. I ask myself the questions always. You know, okay, let's see if we can, okay, I'm going to hook the phone up here, and hopefully Jerald will be able to join us soon, and we'll take it from there. So Jerald, if you're sitting out there, I now have you on my phone as well as the laptop. So look for the invite button and come on in. You know, this is our time, so I'm waiting, you know, for it to all happen. And I have the patience to do so. And so let me see what happens here. Okay, let me, okay. Okay. Wait a second. Well, I guess this is how it's going to work.
Exactly, or what?
Yeah, you know.
Hilarious.
This is hilarious, you know. I mean, what are we going to do but just proceed? So, you know, I'm happy to have you here, and
I'm happy to be here. I got two of you here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You got to get your camera more straightened out because you're all over the place.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. You know, sit still.
Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey. And let's proceed. And this is my dear friend Jerald Roth, otherwise known as Brother Sage. And
Nice to be here.
And go ahead and give us a little background so our audience knows who they're listening to.
Glad to. My journey was trying to get my attention since, as far as I can remember, back to like 18, 19, and 20. But when I was 22, with a change of events in my life, I ended up in a raw food community, one of the first in the country in Austin, Texas, under the mentorship of Victoria Skovinskas and Dr. Ann Wigmore. And when that started transforming me on the inside by switching to raw foods and juicing and doing crazy stuff like 12 ounces of wheatgrass shots a day, my body started cleaning house, and I went through a bout of hepatitis and healed that. And within the first year of getting on the path, all these tools and teachers and holy men were showing up, and the Course in Miracles and breath work and massage and yoga and fasting and tantra. And all these tools kept cracking me open and wanking me up. And sure, I stumbled along the way and made some mistakes, but my life urge has been so strong, and my attention to spirit has been so devoted that magic keeps happening. And so I've been a wellness practitioner. This is my 39th year. People know me in Boulder as a world famous split hand because I can take people places with their feet. No pun intended.
Yeah.
And
you touch their soul. You touch their soul in a very unique way.
it's fun to soothe souls for people who have ruffled feathers and ruffled souls. Anything happening out there, Daniel? Oh, well. So last year my book came out, The Inescapable Quotes with Inescapable Artwork, which is a lot of people are using the blank areas for journal writing and insights and ahas. And since certain people who I happen to be seeing on the video right now have brought SHIVAMBU and Urine Therapy back into the spotlight, that's been very inspirational for me, a way to channel ideas and information that's part of the cracking open of consciousness and people remembering that all this stuff matters.
So, something I want you to realize, because you are dominating the screen. I am up in the corner like it. No, not in that way. I mean, because you called me, you now have you're seeing the questions. I'm getting nothing on my screen, nothing, but you. And I'm sitting up in the corner like your guest.
Okay.
So, you know, if we're going to continue in this particular form, then you're going to be responsible for paying attention to questions, you know, and comments as we go along. Otherwise, I have to turn off this call you back, and then I can see the comments on the screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I would like it interactive for all the viewers, so what's the best approach?
Well, we are interactive, you know, that's as it appears. But I think that in all respect, that I'm the host, I'm going to hang up this call with you and then just call you right back. And so we'll reverse our positions. Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody give us a second, okay? This is great. Let me see here. I don't know, man. This is great. Bear with me, please. I just, I want to find you. If you will. Let's see here. I don't know. Oh, geez. This is crazy. Oh, God. Oh, please help me. Just find, okay. I think I got it now. I think so. Oh, wait. Yeah, here we are again. I don't know. Jeez.
You're not streaming there. That's just a video call. This is your stream.
Here, can you
So
just...
these are all your comments here.
Okay.
Show me to your camera at the laptop? Or
You understand? This is just a call. They
Okay.
can hear, they can't see. They
Okay.
can't see
Can
both
you-
sides.
Can you get the call? I just can't manage all these things.
What do you mean?
Well, I can't seem to find him back in the form.
He's right here.
Okay, so he's on Messenger. Are you still seeing comments?
I can see it on my iPad, but not on the phone.
Okay, well, we're just going to stick with this.
See, looky, all your comments, everybody's right here.
Yeah, okay.
Henry, they heard me. Casey, they heard me because there's comments about what I said about Dr. Ann Wigmore.
Okay, well, you know, let's just proceed. It's all good. I see things floating across the screen. It's all good, man.
People are out there. That's what
They're out there. I'm out there. You're out there.
Daniel's round earth, right?
And there he is. So anyway, where we left off, you were making a reference to your book that you released last year, and you know, that's so so cool, you know. To get a book published is really something. And speaking of that, yesterday I contacted the publisher and made the initial down payment towards the publishing of my book. And so I'm on the hook now. I have more payments to make, and so with that being said, I really welcome anybody and everybody who wants to participate and become a part of the book that I'm now in the process of publishing. If you'd like to donate to my PayPal account, that's paypal.me/Weedu. And with $25 donation, you are securing yourself a signed and numbered copy, as well as a mention in the book in gratitude and thanks. So, yeah, I'm excited. It's a long time coming, you know, so, you know, we'll just let it be, you know.
Everything you're doing right now and everything I'm doing right now is in perfect order, because all the things we went through on our journey to get to the now has prepared us for the biggest work ever now.
Yes. Yeah.
Very humbling.
And I'm feeling it. Yesterday I kind of posted an open letter, and I posted it around because I'm just feeling it in a different way. And so instead of putting everything that I publish and post in every group, I'm choosing to just keep that more on my pages and within the High Vibe Tribe group. And I'm going to post these videos in the other groups to share the knowledge, to share the experience with others. You know, I'm not attempting to cut myself off by any means. I just don't want to, I don't know, maybe overexpose, you know, my process to, you know, in every moment. I don't know. I'm just taking time to reflect all these things, you know, and being patient with myself in the process. Because that's all life is a process. It's just like art, layer after layer after layer. And we have to just keep going through the layers if we ever really want to get a glimpse of the bigger picture. Our life in action. So
when you keep it centralized into one, the hub of your circle, you know, instead of all the groups, you'll find out who really is interested. Yes.
And, you know, and that's why I choose to keep all of mine public rather than private. Because it's clear to me that regardless of the naysayers and the poo-poos, there are people that have never heard of urine therapy. And when they see it, it may pique their curiosity. So I allow for that to be available. And more and more people do join the conversation out of curiosity. I mean, some respond and, you know, give their comments in their disgusting mindset. And, you know, I welcome all comments, because there's so many warriors that are on this page, this movement, this awakening, and they jump in and they also respond. And my whole purpose, you know, my whole focus is just to keep the love, period. You know, I'm not into, you know, arguing or debating or, you know, making somebody wrong for their consideration or their choices, because that's really not my business or my purpose. I want to stay focused and centered in the love that I am exploring and experiencing within myself, because I feel that, I just feel that's the only thing. Go ahead.
One of the things I love about you and Daniel, where you are, is that you get to the heart of the matter. Sure, we're voicing urine therapy, but that's not the end.
Yes. It's the
What it's
beginning.
doing is collapse. It's the beginning. It's the water of life. It's the creation of new ideas and new birth and new life. And what we're doing is we're collapsing the paradigm. We're collapsing the duality, the polarity that's been on the planet for way too long by having people look at something that meant something before we talked about urine as a healing modality, as medicine. So all the people, you've seen the movie Matrix, of course. I go back, right? You've seen it.
Yeah.
So what Morris is constantly saying is, it's on your mind.
Yes.
You have to look at something without using your mind to look at it.
Yes. In reference
So
to that comment, I've been rereading the Conversations with God series, and last night it was that very thought, and that was even before the movie was made. You know, the reference to the Matrix. You know, and I haven't read the books for a long time, and so that I found that to be interesting. You know, and we are in the Matrix. No, there is no doubt. You know, it's all universal mind. And whatever we think about, we bring about. It's all intent. It's whatever we focus on. And so I always assure people, be very considerate and conscious of your thoughts, because they are you, whoever you are. It's a responsibility equaled by opportunity to change whatever your paradigm is, whatever you're looking at. If you don't like what you're looking at, look again, think again, see if you can change that vision, because the power lives in all of us. Nobody was shortchanged in this toolbox. It's just a matter of whether we understand the tools and use them correctly.
Right. It's also been said that a tool is only as good as the person who uses it.
Yes, exactly.
So sharpen up your tools, my friend.
Yeah. and use them in the right application.
Yeah.
You know, when you need a saw, don't grab a hammer. Yeah. It's that's a lot harder to work with when you do that, you know. So it's all about selection, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing that I wanted to also bring forth is that you only recently decided that it was time to be open about your urine therapy. Is that correct?
More so than ever, even though I've been at it for a few decades.
Yeah, but it's only recently that you really kind of brought it to the forefront and have been more outspoken. Is that true?
It's true, and I'm guessing the others that have been a little silent about it, is that it's not only an awesome conversation starter, but it shifts people dramatically.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what I say? Cheers.
It's alive. L'chaim, our Jewish brother. Yes.
It is very freeing. You know, I found in, really from the get-go that it just gave me way more freedom, you know, to just be open about it rather than anything other. You know, it just, I felt free. I just felt totally free to really see, you know, who I was being. And I am grateful. I am. You know, I've reached many milestones, you know, and the journey continues. You know, it's never the destination. I have no destination in sight, none in mind, because the journey is everything. I was talking to a friend last night, and I made a metaphorical reference that life is like a roller coaster. And we can either choose to wave our arms in the air like we just don't care and shout with glee, or hang on to that handlebar in fear and freak out. It's always an option, you know, whatever we choose.
It's the same when people can choose suffering or they can choose joy. And it seems that the people who have taken their attention off of themselves and more into seeing how they can serve their brothers and sisters, the suffering has somehow vanished.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And pain and suffering are not the same thing. You know, pain is is something we can seriously feel in our body. Suffering is something that goes on in the mind. And so to change suffering, we have to change our mind. And when we shift out of the suffering aspect, the healing can happen. I feel that in my experience, my observation, that when we focus on our pain, pain is what we get. When we are in wanting, we'll remain in wanting. As we accept and be, it is so. And when we put in that order for that shift, just be patient and allow the shift to happen, because it is happening. No more want, no need. If we focus on, you know, the imagining ourselves in our perfectness, in our well-beingness, in our greatness, we are. It's real simple. Yeah. And it requires great patience. You know, I always make the reference to like being in a restaurant and putting in an order. Now, goodness, if you're ordering something that's going to be a masterpiece, you have to be patient. If you start hassling the waiter and pounding the table and demanding, well, you know, you just canceled your order, so to speak. So patience is a big, big part of the process. Trusting and allowing. Yeah.
Well, patience and trust go together. It seems that patience has been one of my teachers for most of my life, because I'm an energy addict. Some people call me an adrenaline junkie, because I get off of the juice.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly giving treatments. I'm constantly dialoguing and empowering and mentoring people. And when there's a low period during the day, I get a little bit urgent about I need to feel that juice again. And so what happens is my friends call me, and like yesterday, Susan came over and we cuddled for 2 or 3 hours and just giggled and screamed and had a bit cleared. And that was what I needed. So,
yeah.
Be patient. Is either, see, faith to me is trusting there is a divine order that's already taking place between our thoughts in every moment. The outcome and the details is not our concern. That's the job of the master himself, the master of details and outcomes. But we, in our little ego, thinks, well, if we have a control going on here, it'll turn out well. Well, you can't fathom infinite potential and infinite possibilities, so you might as well just relax.
Yeah. Well, again, I was reminded, and something I understand, that whatever was and whatever will be already is, and it's not a linear, it's actually a vertical. So everything exists already. Everything exists already. Simply a matter of what we are focused on and pay attention to that brings it into our inner standing and, you know, a part of our experience. It's just, and to me, that seems simple. It's not complicated to me. And that's where, again, it comes back to the patience, the trust, and the faith. To know all is good, all is well. We are.
Well, what if you discovered that all the teachings were evolving, and that this is what came to me is a few years ago, it dawned on me that everybody was focusing on the current teaching of the time. When the movie The Secret came out, then Abraham Richero came out with the law of attraction. Everybody thought that was it, and then it got upgraded to set your intentions. And then it upgraded for me again, and it just came down to simply saying to yourself, let love bring you all that you love. And so I found myself focusing on what I love. More of that's showing up now.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't have to get emotional about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I have been doing. That's who I'm being. That is a central understanding and focus at this point, is to stay in that mindset, that heart set, that clarity, that it is just love. There is nothing else. That is the simple solution, the answer to most all questions. And I jokingly say, if love is the answer, what was the question?
Did you ask that question at this point?
Yeah, you know.
What if we found out that everything outside of the realm of love was the folklore and the mythology and all the lies that kept people's attention hijacked from love, or hijacked from divine presence? And once we pull that aside, or as they say in The Wizard of Oz, you pull the curtain away and you find out who's pulling the strings, you find out that love was here. So we're kind of in a quandary seeking what's already here.
Yes, exactly. Now, I've been so what I considered blessed to be exposed to at a very early age some of the master poets, you know, of contemporary times, you know, like John Lennon and Bob Dylan and Todd Rundgren, and the list is long. And you know, I always look at like just the simplicity and the poetic beauty of the song Imagine, and how powerful that message is and always will remain as such, you know. And what we imagine, we create. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
So be careful what you ask for. Don't forget the hubcaps.
The details, everything.
Yeah. You know, be clear in your mind of what you imagine, because you are creating, co-creating always with everything that you imagine. You know, it's pretty simple. So I noticed, I think it was yesterday, you were out hiking in the Rockies. Was that yesterday?
That's almost every day, yes.
Yeah. What a beautiful, peaceful place to reflect, eh?
Yes. It's about 8 blocks from my house. There's a hike trail that goes by this incredible playground for kids, and next to it is a dog park where people take their dogs off leash, and you get to walk amongst dogs of all breeds and play in their world while you're there. Then you come around the outer trail on the east slopes of the Rockies. You see parasailers and hang gliders jumping off the mountain with all these beautiful colors coming at you, landing among the kids in the playground.
Wow. What a sight that must be to see. Yeah, just last week, Daniel and I were in town, and the generator was kind of pooping out. So we took it in to have the carburetor cleaned or fixed or whatever happened. And rather than going back and forth and making 2 trips of the day, we went to this amazing park. And it's in Moberly, Missouri, which, you know, is a town of like 14,000. but this park is huge. Rothwell Park is huge. And there is this really big lake that is in the middle of it. Now, Daniel decided to go running, and I went walking, you know, in a different direction. And I kept hearing the honking. You know, it was just all these geese. I kept hearing them, and I kept looking to the sky like, where are these geese? And so as I kept meandering in the park, I finally came around the side of the lake, and the lake was frozen for the most part, except for a part of the middle, which had, you know, still some movable water. But there had to be, my guesstimate, 1,000 geese out in this lake. And it was just such a sight to behold. It was just the glory of God. It was just so beautiful. And it was a blessing.
Is that part of their migration routes?
I would imagine. I really don't know. There were so many. I'd never seen so many in one spot in my life. Never seen that many. I mean, I've seen dozens and perhaps even hundreds that were in flight, but I've never seen a congregation. I guess they call it a gaggle, a gaggle of geese. Yeah. You know, you get a flock of birds and a gaggle of geese. What an interesting term.
That is. A friend and I were talking about all the different terms of the collective groups, like the breed of dog, the packs of dogs, and something of fox. There was something unusual like the gaggles, I don't remember what it was, but I want to tell you there's a phenomenon that takes place in Boulder. There's a lot of things in Boulder. I wanted to put together a supernatural tour of Boulder to take people to the vortexes and all the spiritual hot spots. There are pigeons, there's seagulls that stay here, that land in the parking lot of McDonald's down by a certain mall. Well, there's no ocean in sight here. And one day we figured out the reason that they're here is because their tracking is so far off. They remember when Colorado was an ocean.
That's an interesting consideration to think about. That makes a lot of sense. You know,
what happened here?
Well, you know, those who do hike, you know, like when I lived in Sedona, I did a lot of hiking in those beautiful red rocks. And when you walk through the barrancas, you know, the dry riverbeds, you'd find rocks encrusted in crystallized fossils of seashells. I had mass collections of these. And it just goes to show that, you know, that was underwater. It actually was an ocean twice, to my understanding. So, you know, when you see it graphically, it's really profound. You know, it's amazing, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's no longer a theory at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, yeah, the wonders, the marvel of life. You know, it's all around us. Now, you know, I've chosen myself, and I made this decision quite a while ago at this point, to just turn off all the noise. You know, I totally shut down all television, news, sports, movies, you know, celebrity, you know, all of those things. And it's funny, on my Facebook feed, when those things appear, it almost just, you know, hits me like a pit in the stomach. Like, it's just, you know, how dogmatic it is, you know, how obsessive it is. People just get so glued to their posture and opinion, and, you know, bitch and argue and complain and cast stones, you know, and I find zero value in holding that kind of position, because it just is I always make that simple idea that what you resist persists. You know, I want change. Well, there it is, the want again. The want appears, you know. And I feel that, you know, we are the change we are seeking. And so if we don't change our world, the rest of the world will remain any way that you imagine it is. Now, I feel there's enough anger, hate, you know, revenge, jealousy, guilt, fear-based consciousnesses. There is no shortage of that mindset, you know, in the human experience. And I feel that if I don't, you know, as a person of choice, hold the space of love completely, what's going to balance out all of that anger, all that fear? So I feel obligated, you know, and that's not, well, I'm going to choose and rephrase that, because obligation seems to be against our will. You know, I will that change. I will that love. I want to see the world as love. I do see the world as love. That's how I see it. And so it is.
And thank you. That's also a reason why I acknowledge you for your poetry and your writings there as often and as frequently as you do. It's the same if you pay attention to my videos and writings, is that we are amplifying the reality that we desire, our true nature, our true reality of love and oneness. If we want to see that hit a critical mass, we've got to give it enough energy and attention, as we have done for the other things that people are getting sucked into thanks to the screens of the television.
Yeah, the television.
The television, what they do, and you probably can track me on this one, they tell an illusion. They tell a vision. And if you spend enough time and that sinks into your psyche, that becomes your vision. And the same, it becomes your reality. So all we have to do is choose thoughts on purpose, not ones that people have given you. That's what the tele-illusion box does.
Yeah, well, it's called programming for a reason.
Exactly.
And, you know, if we don't choose to think for ourselves, others gladly will.
Yeah, they'll be glad to take it over for you.
Yeah. And, you know, another thing that I have steered away from, really, quite frankly, most all my life, is groupthink. You know, that herd mentality. You know, I can't even imagine myself at this point to be inclusive in, you know, stadiums, arenas, you know, that whole dynamic. It just doesn't resonate with me at all at this point. You know, I'm really trusting the true nature of my beingness, which is nature. I trust nature as a real truth teller. It speaks to me in volumes. You know, the simplicity of it all, the balance of it all, the great design of it all. You know, even in here where we are in Missouri, it's in its dormancy. And, you know, this morning when I woke up, every single window had a 1/4 inch thick ice sheet on the inside of the glass. We were at -5, you know, or something. And it's like, whoa, you know, this is a real shift for me, you know, being a, you know, West Coaster, you know. And so I've learned to accept, embrace, adapt, and celebrate it rather than resist it or, you know, battle against it. I just accept it. And each day I feel the difference. I really truly feel the difference as every new day appears. And I am grateful for that. You know, it is a change of mind. But the point I was making about the dormancy, there's a haunting beauty about it. You know, because there's really very, very, very few green trees. that you can see in Missouri. They're all dormant. But in my mind's eye, I truly imagine the glory when spring comes around. Like here in Orintown, the 80 acres, it's a lot of maples. The ground is just covered everywhere you walk in maple leaves. So I picture that now, you know, as every day we move closer to spring. Every day gets a few minutes longer, you know, in daylight, and, you know. I always celebrate the shift, you know, once we, you know, once we hit that point of the year where the sun rises again, you know, and, you know, I look at all of that in the beautiful metaphors, you know, the cosmetology of it all. You know, it makes a lot of sense to me. There's so much. There's been so much inflicted upon us in belief systems, you know, that have steered us into a position of not being within our power, not recognizing the glory of God within. So it, you know, puts people at a indifference. You know, their beliefs lead them to think that they need to be in church, or they need to be somewhere. They need to do, you know, all these things in order to reach, you know, the God. And I accept that I am God, not as a narcissist. I am in the image of God. I was created as a perfect, you know, component of the universe in which I exist. And all things are included, including me, in the glory of God. God is everywhere when we see it, when we understand it, when we understand it and accept it to be. It's glorious.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing more and more people that have gone out of agreed upon realities about connecting with God or the source or whatever you want to call it. And they drop out of their religions. They drop out of the structure itself. It's almost like they cut the tether. How it related to me is that I was raised Jewish. And around 18, 19, 20, I'm going, this ain't it. This is not all there is. And so God kept knocking on my brain and opening me up and going, wait a minute, you don't need a middleman. I'll talk directly to you. So at that point, my spiritual path just like it flipped on and go, I don't need Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism. Not that that's wrong or anything, but for me, I got the direct route.
Yes. Yeah, I really had great awakenings that began occurring for me. You know, when I look back in my life, I was raised in a good-sized family, and there was no nothing forced, no religion, no politics, no craft or trade. We were given the opportunity to imagine our own creativity, which I know is rare, you know, so I accept those blessings. But I recall at 5 years old, I would take my little nickel and I would go walking to this church all by myself and put my little nickel in the basket. And I was looking, I was searching. And I didn't know what I was really looking for, but I was curious. So I allowed it. And as time went on, I strayed far, far, far away from that. But I kept coming back to it somehow. And in the 80s, I'd gone to Catholic churches with friends, and I thought, oh God, this is wickedly weird. You know, I mean, I just couldn't get that stuff at all. And but eventually it really started opening up for me when I moved to New York the second time in the early 80s. I found myself in the Marble Collegiate Church on Fifth Avenue with Norman Vincent Peale. Now that was really appealing. I really enjoyed the message. Then I found Eric Butterworth in Unity. And that really shifted me in another big, big way, because there was absolutely no symbolism. There I was in Avery Fisher Hall at Lincoln Center, and his wife Olga doing the meditation, and Eric doing the dissertation, and Stephen LaHue, a Broadway performer, singing beautiful songs. You know, there were no hymnals, there were no, crosses. There was zero symbolism. But what was there is love, endless love. And when we all got up at the end of the service and all held hands and, joining together in a rejoicing, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. It was just, I was crying. I had so much joy that tears were streaming. And then I found myself in Anaheim, California, there in the world of Disneyland, of all places. But there I was in the Crystal Cathedral with Robert Schuller. And again, I found profound experience, showing up. So I've just allowed the path to be what it is, finding, that more and more the truth I was seeking was within me, that I didn't need to look outside of me to find the truth, to find the love, to find the God that I am,
Find you.
Yeah. I am just I'm a child of God. And I accept that. And with the urine therapy, it's reversed me in so many ways. It's cleared my mind and my heart in such profound ways that I am remembering that child. I am relearning how to have that beautiful sense of wonder, to be enthusiastic about every breath that I take. Because these are gifts, and I do not take them for granted, ever. I celebrate them always, because it is a gift. I can't take myself that seriously anymore. If anything,
I see how that worked for you.
Yeah, I seriously crack myself up, I realize I can be full of shit, but I know how to do enemas.
There you go. You've got your own personal virtual reality movie theater right here.
Yeah, and it is about clearing the shit. It's what it's all about. We get so constipated in our thought process, and our heart just gets all jammed up, and we have to clear that stuff. It's just a responsibility. Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why over the last couple of days I've been making videos about what's called the practice. This came from a conversation with a spiritual teacher in Boulder who hired me to be a spiritual advisor during the production of his movie, his message, and his gift to the world. And it was about being the practice. And even Wayne Dyer mentioned this in the last year of his life. He says, you can go to all the gurus, you can study all the books, you can take all the groups. Even Sai Ma mentioned this when she came to Boulder. She says, if you're not going to do the work on a daily basis, I'm not coming back to your city. You must make this an important part of your life. You must get in front of your sacred space in your room, your altar, your picture of your beloved, whatever it is, and revoke and bring to the present moment the spirit or love, whatever you want to call it. So I've been making videos about the practice. We can't give lip service to love. You know, you have to act on that. You have to show people that you care, be a friend, all the things that show empathy and compassion for another human being. That's the practice too.
Yes. And I recognize my empathy. You know, I have a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy. You know, as I look outside of myself and witness, you know, the illusion that so many people are locked into. And I wrote some, you know, I've written so many different things, and they were all just processes, really, quite frankly, to clear my mind of these ideas so that I could have new ideas, so to speak. And one of them was a poem that I wrote about being the prisoner and the jailer. And we are that. But at the same time, we equally hold the key as the jailer, as the prisoner. And once we understand where the key is and how to turn it, we're free. We free ourselves.
Yep.
You know?
It's exactly what Morpheus was doing for Neo after he gave him the red pill.
Yeah.
He says, we're here to free your mind.
Yeah.
So you know, real.
Yeah. Yeah, the red pill is a much happier pill. You know, you got to take that blue pill with the Kool-Aid.
I don't expect to know anything. Yeah, exactly. That's about it.
Yeah, and that's why I gave it a lot of thought for several months. I was even asked by many, why don't I start a group? And I weighed on that for quite a while. But that's why I decided at the beginning of the year to just go ahead and initiate the High Vibe Tribe, because it's something that I felt compelled to do, I guess. And the purpose of it, which I put right up front, is that it's open to everybody. I welcome everybody. And it, you know, I talk about P, there's no doubt about it, but that's not, you know, the whole story. You know, so I set it up and with the intent of it to be kind of an open mic, not limited, you know, if you know, are a folk singer. Now, I got a story about this, and I want to share it because I can. When I lived in Sedona, when I first moved there, and I'd been a performer for quite some time. I'd been doing it for years. And so I went to the open mic. There was only one. And it was at the Oak Creek Brewery. And Dale, who I respected, was the host. And this guy was a virtual jukebox. I never saw anybody that could carry more cover tunes in his brain than this brother. And he was a lovely man. And so I signed up and I got up. And the first time I performed, I was doing stand-up comedy. Now, when I got off, and, you know, it seemed like it was appreciated as far as the audience goes. But when I came back the following week, he pulled me aside and he said, well, you know, you can't sign up to do that. You know, if you want to get up between acts, you know, for a moment or two, you know, that's fine. But, you know, that's not it. And I went, oh, okay. So then I decided I'd do poetry. So I did. The following week, I come back and he pulls me aside again and he says, your poetry's too spiritual. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting in a town called Sedona, you know? So
they have people from every possible part of the galaxy.
Right. So I went, okay. So the next week I come back and I bring myself a posse. I got a flautist, I got a djembe player, I got a little groove going on, and I was doing this piece called I Believe. Now I preface this piece by saying, you know, thoughts are random and we have thousands of them all day, every day. But when we organize these thoughts, they start to become beliefs. We start to believe certain things. Once you get past that, you get to a level of knowingness, and you just accept what is so for you. So with all that being said, this piece is called I Believe. Now, the purpose of the piece is to see how many buttons I could push. You know, I mean, they're random, and every single line began with that idea. I believe this or that, whatever it was, you know. So I'm halfway through. We got a groove going on. It's happening. The audience is digging it, right? Out of nowhere, the bartender yells, and I mean yells, from the back of the room. She says, "That's it, you're done, get off the stage." And I'm like, wait a minute, what? You know, and I'm looking around, and the audience is looking around, and they're like, what? She said, "You heard me, get off, you're done, get off the stage." And so I said, well, I guess no Jack Kerouac here. And, you know, I realized that, man, I was pushing some buttons on this girl. Big time, big time. So it inspired me, you know, rather than frustrate me, it inspired me. So I went to this other friend that I knew, a really beautiful soul. His name's Kurt, and he owned property, and he had a facility that he called Lizard Head Lounge. And so I went to him and I said, "Hey, Kurt, you know, would you be open to the idea of me starting an open mic in the venue, because there's only one open mic and it's not open at all unless you're a folk singer. It's just a closed mic." And he said, "Sure, let's do this." So I did. I started it with that intent, and I didn't exclude anybody. It didn't matter who it was. They could bring whatever their gifts were, and it was magical. It was glorious, because people that had never performed in front of anybody ever were bringing their gifts forth. And to watch them bloom in a loving, supportive environment was just beautiful. It was a true, true gift. Now, one of those people, I will just end this story with this. One of those people, she was 15 years old at the time. She had been playing her guitar and singing songs that she had written to her teddy bears. Her father called me, and he said, "You know, I have a daughter. She's writing her own songs. She's very talented. Would it be possible for her to come perform at your open mic?" I said, "Please, bring her on." Well, that happened to be Michelle Branch. And Michelle Branch later was playing on the pre-show with Carlos Santana at the Super Bowl. We recorded her demo in our living room by the fireside with just her and her guitar and her father. And that demo got her signed to Maverick Records, and she launched a career. It was really an amazing experience, truly amazing. So that's why I created the High Vibe Tribe. I want people to feel free to share their gift, whatever that gift may be. That's not, you know, that's not my determination.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a rare thing to have someone who can offer that kind of open area, open consciousness, open heart, where people don't feel restriction, limitation, judgment, criticism. They can just be as comfortable and vulnerable, as transparent as they want to be, and everybody will accept them.
Yeah, and that's truly my feeling. And I have no disrespect to any of the groups. I value my my membership in all of them. You know, and I respect everybody. And I understand why some groups, you know, are closed. I mean, mine is closed. You need to be a member. You need to join. But the format is open. It's not limited, you know. And you know, I did that on purpose, as I said.
Well, I've joined a lot of groups, and I found out that the groups have a collective agreed upon consciousness in the group. For example, you can't necessarily go to the vegans and the raw foodists and talk about drinking your pee.
Right.
They just can't stretch to that. And then there's other groups that are spiritual groups. I can't talk about physical immortality there because they're convinced that the body's going to fall aside and it ends in 80 years, whatever it is. So you have to know your audience.
Yes.
But if you have a landing place like High Vibe, they'll find that place.
I trust that. I totally trust that. And I agree with what you stated. You know, I've unjoined myself from groups simply because of those limits and because of the conscious stream, the group think.
Right.
And it's, you know, I don't have an argument about it. I just accept that that's what's so, but I have no participation in that limitation.
Right. And some of the groups, who I won't name, since we're on Facebook, they follow their health guru. They follow the guy who wrote the book, the guy who sells the nutritional products, the guy who has the successful name and brand and practice. But they in themselves may question his teaching, but in the collective right there, they won't do it publicly.
Right. Well, and I have had this discussion with many who have been blocked simply because they spoke their truth. You know, their comments are deleted. You know, they become blocked simply because they challenged, I suppose would be a correct word, the point of view that was in the group speak.
Yeah, or they interpret it as a challenge.
Yeah.
They're going to defend their beliefs no matter what.
Yeah. And that's herd mentality, you know, again, which, you know, if you've watched any herd, they end up in the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, we're jumping off the cliff with the lemurs.
Yeah.
Either way. So I want to bring up a subject, and I brought it up just a few minutes ago, and I wrote an article that talks about physical immortality. And the article simply says, your sacred live foods and your spiritual path will not save you from your mind. The people who are self-destructive, or the people who feel disconnected, or the people who really hate themselves and that are miserable, why would they ever consider living forever?
Exactly.
They would be totally in opposition of the fact that they figured there's got to be something better than being in a body on planet Earth. And yet I have experienced that being in the body on a planet Earth is the ultimate service, because this is a form of communication, whether they use words or not. And we're here for a reason. Why would you want to destroy any life? I know the people that are vegans and go, well, it's terrible the way they treat animals and slaughterhouses, you know, and chickens and you name it. Well, why is your body any different?
Well, and you know, I was again recently reminded in my reading is that we never die. We don't die. You know, we let go of the meat suit and transform into a higher dimensional energy. And I trust that. You know, I sense that to be the real truth. But, you know, even just a couple of years ago,
Casey.
I don't know why it disconnected.
Somebody called me and I went to press decline the phone and everything got declined.
Yeah, well, we're back.
It's an Android.
Yeah, yeah. And I hear a phone ringing. Is that yours?
That was. That's
yeah.
my organizer.
Okay. Let's see. Where were we?
The body.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, because just, you know, 4 years ago, as I sit here and speak, I was laying in a trailer up in Moses Lake, Washington, waiting to die. You know, at that point, I hadn't been approved of my my disability. I hadn't been given the go-ahead for my neck surgery, which is what was really the biggest challenge, because I had 4 vertebrae out of alignment and it was pinching a nerve, and it was excruciating. And that pain went on for 8 months. So I had no vision at that point. I was just, I was accelerating my destructive behavior. I just drank more and, you know, focused on the pain. Laid around eating horribly, smoking heavily, watching movies, you know. It was really it was very disturbing. But as I sit here now, I recognize, you know, I changed my mind. You know, my experience has ultimately changed. You know, I don't even feel like I've reached even the halfway point of my life. I feel as if my body and my spirit and my soul are going back to the child within. And this I celebrate joyously, always.
Good, well, let him play.
I keep hearing a phone ringing.
Yeah, well, it's not my phone, and however this Facebook Live thing is turning out, I have no clue, but there's 8 people on there.
Yeah, I don't know either, you know, and I just roll with it, you know, that I've learned that.
It's crazy. I get a phone call and we're bumped up.
Yeah. Well, we're back.
We're back. We never went anywhere. Minor technical difficulties, guys that are watching.
Yeah, you know, and I've realized this each week. You know, the opportunity is always there. You know, whatever is supposed to transmit does. However it comes through will. And, you know, more importantly, you know, we are here together, you know, and I am grateful. I really appreciate your insights, your thought, your beautiful heart, and your willingness to share all that with us. I mean, it's a gift, and I received that gift with love.
Thank you. It's been a joy communicating with you. Past couple of months, or whatever it was, it's led to this conversation. And it's wonderful because I've also noticed on Facebook, we've bridged your world and my world.
Yes.
And this is what I've done with Dr. Roz. I've been with several of the writers and video makers in Facebook, is supported them by putting them on my Facebook page. And we're helping everybody else to be the voice, to be the narrator, to be the storyteller for humanity in a larger audience. My friend here, and I'd like to pitch her for a second, is known as the Lyme Whisperer. She healed herself of Lyme disease. Her name is Layla Sun, and she's a dear friend of mine, and she needs to be seen and heard. And so anybody who's dealing with a weakened immune system, the challenge of Lyme disease, she's radical. She's very, very sharp. She's medically intuitive, and she can help people really fast if they're interested.
Good. I welcome the plug. You know, and here's the thing: is that we are the world, and that's inclusive of everyone. It's not. We're not exclusive. We're inclusive. And I welcome, I do. I don't turn anyone away. Now, if somebody is just coming, you know, with their negativity, certainly we're going to limit that because there's no room for any of that. It's not required. It's not necessary. You know, the purpose is to awaken each individual on their own accord. It's not my job. I mean, you can bring people wisdom and knowledge, but you can't make them think. And so I don't make any effort to do that. You know, that's not my responsibility, what people think.
Yeah. Well, that's also the reason why I stopped rescuing people.
Yeah.
Women, men, kids, because the answer's inside them, and they're looking for you and for guidance and salvation, but you can't do that for them because they have to find their way in life.
Yes. Now, I have I was privileged to a dynamic that was introduced to me, I think in the 90s, if I recall, and it's called the triangle trap. And when I discovered this, it blew my mind. Now, what the triangle trap represents is 3 distinctive personality disorders. One of them is the victim, the other, the rescue ranger, the other, the tyrant. Now, they're interconnected. Now, I, like you, was the rescue ranger. That's how I postured myself. That's how I ended up with so many wounded women as partners. But as they got more empowered, you know, from their victim role, then they started becoming tyrants, which then shifted me to the victim, which then shifted me again to the tyrant. It's a really redundant, inclusive I don't understand why we keep getting cut off, but here we remain.
Well, the person who's calling is my new organizer. It seems that at stages of your life, that shows how persistent she is. She's called like 8 times. When you're at a stage, every stage of your life, the supplies, the people, the resources, the money, the health, the tools, is there for you. So I'm in a place now, I'm doing dialogues with you and people across the country. I have an organizer, book just came out, and ready or not, I'm at this place, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and just to conclude what I was saying about this dynamic is that until you choose to remove yourself completely from each and every one of those disorders, and they are disorders, they will remain. And they'll just keep cycling back and over and, you know, through and through until we recognize that all 3 of those dynamics empower each other dynamic to continue. And it is an abusive behavior completely, even in the posture of the rescue ranger. It's an abusive because it's a manipulative control mechanism that inspires us to rescue from that point of view.
So have you noticed that what you heal in others?
They heal it within themselves.
They heal it within themselves, but at a certain place, this is what I've been studying, is that what we're healing is also for all humanity. It's not just personal, but you have all this energy that comes in. You start noticing there's more playing out in the world that are improving and showing signs of transformation than you would have seen before.
Yes, well, and I accept that. I accept the responsibility of putting myself in the position or posture that I do. And if I can lead people to their own awakening, well, so be it. You know, that I accept that as a responsibility, as a gift. You know, I recognize my skills. And that's all. I recognize my skills and I utilize them. You know, the poetry is effortless to me. And it is a stream of consciousness that I allow and I celebrate. I don't fight it. I just accept it. And so whatever is channeling through me, you know, and whatever words I'm choosing, you know, I realize they're just being channeled through me. And I willfully, you know, share them. You know, I And I appreciate people that read them and accept them or show appreciation. I do appreciate that. You know, I'm not arrogant about who I am. I realize that is just another disorder, another bad behavior, and there's no room for it. It's not required.
So you're not taking it personal when people are basically acknowledging the information or the vibration of the words that you were the midwife for, that you were the conduit for.
Yes.
And I'm the same way. When I sit down and have a conversation with somebody, I'm not trying to guide it or make it go a certain way. The same with the videos I've been producing. Just sit down and here it comes. You better start talking.
Yeah.
Open your mouth.
Yeah. And I realize that more and more. And I've been every moment really recently, currently, constantly, I'm finding myself standing at the reflection pond. Now, are you familiar with M.C. Escher, the illustrator?
Yes.
Well, he did a marvelous series of images that were called triplanal images. And they were reflections in the pond. And in that triplanal, you could see what was under the water, you could see what was on the water, and you could see the reflection in the sky. And I always found that really to be profound in how I interpreted it, and I'm sure others, is that we are in that matrix. And the deeper we look within, the more it all appears. And there is more dimensions than the one that we're limiting ourselves to. There's many dimensions. And recently when I was in Odessa, it was just an amazing experience on one occasion when I was sun gazing. And I continued, I was sun gazing for, probably at least an hour, if not more, entirely. And it was like going to a disco. I mean, the lights and the visions, it was psychedelic. It was like tripping on acid. And I realized all that was occurring is that I was connecting with universal mind. That's all that was really occurring. And it was so simple. Yeah, and it's so free. Free acid trip.
When you said that, your hoodie got brighter. You just turned up your sun.
Yeah, I also recognize that, I've been following the poisoning of the air for, 20 years now, and I've made videos, wrote about it. I mean, and people just thought I was crazy, and in Sedona, it was so apparent because there's no industries there, and a perfectly blue sky would also just be a checkerboard. It would be a crossword puzzle. It would be, tic-tac-toe in a matter of hours. And I'd go, you don't see that, oh, that's just airplanes, yeah, they're airplanes. No doubt.
They're usually flying that pattern.
But now the cat's out of the bag. It is, they fessed up, they've been but all they did is put a good press release together, and just tell people, yeah, we're doing this and it's good for you, but I think not. The sun is a valuable asset. It's a part of our photosynthesis, and it is required. And there is a purpose in blocking the sun. And it's not limited to one thing. There's many things involved. It also helps generate the microwaves, in a reflective, so that it increases the EMFs. There's so many levels to it. Besides all the aluminum and barium and the endless soup that they're mixing in these things and dumping on us. It's really, it's profound. But the good news is,
thank you.
I've got my pea coat on. And I do. I feel so protected. I do. You know, I don't dwell on it anymore. I mean, I observe it and I photograph it, you know, just as a journalist, you know, and I am a photojournalist. That's why I'm a filmmaker. And just to keep a catalog, so to speak, of awareness of what is so. You know, I'm not going to just ignore things. But I choose not to harp on them much anymore, where I used to have a soapbox and I'd stand in the square. No more.
I'm at a place now. In 1990, my wife and I went as far down the conspiracy rabbit hole as anyone could go. And we said the United States is not our friend, so we moved to New Zealand. And we did our thing there. And I was a spokesman for a nutritional company giving talks in front of large groups at hotels until somebody, a businessman, wrecked the business opportunity with the company. So my wife and I moved back to Hawaii with a round-trip ticket. Well, we discovered the United States is not so bad. When you get away, you get a perspective and come back. But we made the decision that this conspiracy thing is starting to creep people out, bring terror and scare them. So I understand all the ins and outs of how reality is being manipulated in history and all that, but I'm choosing to take light of it so it doesn't take me out like a lot of people. They get so paranoid they can't function at all. As a matter of fact, if you saw some of my videos and I'm standing outside and there's a chemtrail in front of me, I'll go, look, there's a line in the sky, whatever that means, and just move on.
Yeah. Well, I did the same route. I was obsessed, you know, really obsessed with revealing, you know, the what was in the underbelly of the beast. And I made it a mission. And, you know, at that time, it served me. You know, I felt that it was something that I needed to explore and express. But I do recognize it no longer serves me. Now, that doesn't mean I ignore anything. But I am very selective at what I am bringing forth anymore. And I'm choosing love. I'm just choosing love. I feel that love is the real answer to all questions. I really feel that to be the truth. It's my truth.
Yeah, well, it's the same with people who are unhealthy, mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. When you soothe their soul and soften their ruffled feathers, it's amazing how they come back to being calm and centered again. The work that I do, I make sure that I'm at the end of the treatment before they step in my office. I'm already at this very calm, relaxed zone. So when they walk in, they can start letting go immediately. So by the time the session's over, they found themselves in their balance again.
Exactly. Well, I made this reference recently in a, you know, I don't know where I made it, but I realized that even the biggest, burliest bastard in the playground, you know, the meanest MO, you know, I mean, you know, they are lacking love. They don't need to be, they don't need to be slapped or punched. That's a misinterpretation. What they really need is a hug. And I've offered this in those circumstances, so I've experienced it directly. And I just look at them with love and I say, brother, you look like you need a hug. May I give you a hug? And it puts them on pause. And if they accept and you give them a hug, and I mean a real heart to heart, just hold them, just hug them.
Yeah.
You may find them crying in your arms. I mean, it's really profound.
It is, and that's what the Course in Miracles teaches us, that people are only saying one or two things. And it makes it so simple to read people really fast and get to know the heart of that person. They're either saying, I love you, or I'm scared, help me.
Yes.
They want to come back to that again.
Yes. It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. I'm going to take a moment to do a little promotion.
Go right ahead.
And I just want to let people know that some of the guests that are lined up to share in the ORIN Oracles in the weeks to come. Now, next week is Tuesday the 23rd, and allegedly Dave is going to be joining us. Now, allegedly Dave was how I was led to urine therapy. And when we video chatted, I didn't realize, you know, when we made the booking, I wasn't even giving it a thought. But after we got off and I looked at the date, I went, oh my goodness, it's my 1-year anniversary, and allegedly Dave will be my guest. So I'm really looking forward to that, because he's such a beautiful, insightful, and interesting man. You know, he goes into a lot of directions, and I celebrate him for that. You know, he has got an active interest and an active mind, and then I give him nothing but love. And then the week after that is we're going to be talking about urine gardening. And that'll be on, that's going to be on the 30th, and I'll be joined by my dear friend Nancy Fox, and Linda Maris, and Rosalind Hanson, who all are hands down awesome urine gardeners. So that'll be fun. You know, it'll be the perfect introduction to getting ready for spring and the new planting. So I hope people will join us for that. And then the week after that, on February 6th, I'm going to be privileged to have Stephen Williams, the director and producer of the film Urine. And he's going to be joining me from Australia. And we're going to talk about his film and the impact it's having and how important that is. And I just saw he posted this morning on a couple of the groups with some updated information. So if you're in the groups, take a look for Stephen's post. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. And one other thing I want to add is that I really encourage people to become a part of the Water of Life Symposium. The Water of Life Symposium is really a wonderful opportunity for communion. You know, it brought together people that share in a like mind, but also people that had no idea what they were even there for, which was really amazing. And with that being said, it is going to be in September, September 21st, 2nd, and 3rd at the Westgate Resort in Las Vegas. Now, this is something that has been developing that I haven't mentioned. And I have subscribers and friends that have been becoming more and more part of this conversation that are coming over from Europe. I have a friend from the Netherlands and other friends from the UK. And their intent is to come over early and rent RVs and other means and do some exploring and traveling and journeying, which I totally love, because that's what I've been doing. But here's what we're planning, and we've been putting it out, so I'm going to mention it now. We're going to create a caravan to go to the symposium, and we welcome people to join us here in Orintown as a starting point, or just join the caravan along the way as we move from Missouri to Nevada. So that's just something in the wind, and there's a lot of people that have been coming in and joining that conversation with enthusiasm and excitement. So anyway, it's going to be it'll be awesome. It always, just being around other urine therapy people is just really a profound gift. It's just a blessing. And the more that we realize it and share that with each other and others, the more profound it becomes. It's an awakened spirit. It's an amazing movement. It is. And I'm consider myself to be very richly blessed to have just a part in the movement of awareness of urine therapy.
I'll be there.
Yeah. As well as many others, another friend told me, I got a text just before we started airing, and she goes, I got my ticket already for the symposium. I said, good job, girl. Here we go. More are joining. So, yeah, it'll be awesome. It always is awesome, And I appreciate AK for the work he does, and his whole team, Adria and Casey. He's got a really wonderful, beautiful team that works in support of the vision and the mission. And it's all about the love and bringing people together to celebrate with this very powerful knowledge.
I love that about the videos from last symposium. Everybody just couldn't stay away from each other.
Yeah.
They had a talk and hug, and they had so much in common. It's like it was a homecoming for everybody, a reunion of sorts.
Yeah.
Here's my spiritual family.
Yeah, and it really was. It just kept mobilizing, materializing in every moment we were there. The after parties were, equally, if not more important as the whole process, because it was the process. It was about the friendships that were being developed and made. And this year, there's plans that, people are, planning on doing collectives and either through Airbnb or different means to create kind of a group dynamic and showing up early and staying late, so that the communion will start early and continue before, during, and after the symposium itself. So, that's going to be exciting as well. And
is there some kind of a sharing B&B or housing so people can know where they're bedding down?
Well, that's all being explored by different people. We've got time to prepare. I know that there are there's some women that are spearheading to have a collective with women so that they can, feel safe in that environment to share what's in their hearts with each other, which I think is really awesome. And I think that'll happen with some of the men as well. So it's unfolding. I'm just kind of planting the seeds, so people can consider this, for their own involvement, so they can participate.
Wonderful. Well, there's a lot of things you and I are going to be putting out in the world and creating between now and September.
Oh, always. Every moment counts, and I just breathe it in. I celebrate every moment that I'm given in a blessed way. Yeah.
We must also remember is to walk away from the screen and get out of nature through the day.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of times I realize that people don't understand what goes into creating this whole thing. What it takes to produce, what it takes to publish, what goes on behind the scenes. And when it came to the symposium, I understood because I've done a lot of producing in my life, and I knew the hard work that AK was creating for himself, and his team. There's a lot involved. And
endless hours.
Yeah, you know, it takes a lot of forethought, a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, and a lot of follow through. You know, so you know, people, you know, they PM me and this, that, and the other, and it's like, why aren't you answering me? Are you ignoring me? And it's like, hey, this isn't personal. You know, just realize that, you know, I've committed myself, you know, to be myself. And this requires focus. That's all. I include everybody. I don't exclude anybody. I mean, I will allow, you know, plenty of time to do video chat, phone calls, personal messaging. You know, I accept all of that. And it's all timing. It's all it is. You know, and if people are interrupting me, they don't know that. It's not intentional. But, you know, I have to stay focused. So I do.
Exactly.
You know, I do.
Yes. Yes, and everybody who knows you will appreciate that, because not everybody can keep a focus.
Yeah. And, you know, it would be luxurious for me to, you know, think that I could just sit around on Facebook all day and, you know, do comments and responses to all of the different things going on in every group. You got interrupted here. It's waiting to reconnect video. I don't know if that's on your end. It might be. But so far you haven't reappeared yet on my screen up there. So I don't know. It's all good. I'm just letting it process, you know. This has really been a awesome privilege. I really love Brother Sage. He's got a lot of things in his heart. Okay, I'm going to call him again. Here we go.
Aloha.
Aloha. You know, the pauseus interruptus has occurred at great frequency on our experience here.
Well, sometimes technology can't keep up with our love and our vibration, so what?
Yeah, you know, I just trust it all. I do. You know, this is, oh God, I don't know, however many shows we've done so far. And every one has been exclusive in its own experience. And you know, I trust the process. I do. I don't worry about it. You know, I don't get all filled with angst like, oh God, it's not perfect. It's all perfect.
Yeah.
You know, we get what we get, you know.
Yeah, let's roll with it.
Yeah, you know, I know better, you know, so, and, you know, I haven't had time to even look at comments and, you know,
either, and they are what they are.
Yeah, and I, you know, honestly, I love you all dearly. There's so many, and I'll respond to them all in the post. You know, it's just I really don't want to be distracted from what we're experiencing together, my friend. You know, this has really been an awesome privilege to share with you today. And I want you to know how much I appreciate what you do, you know. And you know, people don't realize how much I pay attention to them. Sometimes I do leave my little love hearts, you know, my likes, and I do leave comments, but I pay attention. I do. I know who is out there. You know, I had a gentleman call me who's been he's been a subscriber of mine for a long while, and so he gave me his number, and we were on the phone the other night, and a delightful man, you know, that has you know, opened his heart to me and shared many thoughts and ideas, and it was really humbling You know, to me, I really value people's willingness and just to reach out. And I receive, I do. You know, I welcome people to join the conversation. And, you know, that's what the technology is here for. You know, I don't concern myself with who's watching. Whoever you are. Can you hear me now? Did you get a good scan of my retina?
We can see you when you're living.
You know, it's all love. You know, it's all love. You know, so you know, I don't shelter myself or disguise myself or hide myself. I allow it all to be what it is. No fear. No reason for it.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, I've enjoyed our talks. I've enjoyed the interaction with your readers and my readers, and it's just terrific to see how much love is generating on Facebook. Despite there's some people say, well, Facebook's a waste of time, blah blah blah. But if you're there on a purpose and a mission, you'll be attracting all those like-minded souls that want to have conversations with you.
Yes.
Because it helps them to get understanding in where they are with their life. So together we lift everybody up.
Yeah, and I totally agree. You know, now I've been working on building another channel, you know, which is in a decentralized format. And it takes time, and it is a completely different format, but the same in a way. It's called Steam It. And they have their additional outpost is called D, like in dog, D2. So I've been posting there. And again, it's under Weedu SHIVAMBU. If you go to Steam It, you'll find me under Weedu SHIVAMBU. Now, they are decentralized. They actually pay in cryptocurrency, which I accept, and Steam It has its own coin. Now, we have to realize that the dominance is in Facebook. The dominance is in Google. The dominance is in YouTube. They have taken over just like Amazon or Starbucks. There's just no way out of that conversation. And, you know, I accept it. You know, I'm grateful that the platform exists. And I wouldn't know any of the people I know had it not been for these formats. Had it not been for YouTube or Facebook, I would not even be having this conversation with you. So for this, I am grateful. And I just use it as a tool. That's all. I accept what it is and utilize the platform. But, you know, I have, you know, with just the YouTube channel alone, I'm being received now in, you know, 115 different countries. I have subscribers on every continent. And that's very humbling to, you know, to realize that. And they reach out. My subscribers reach out. A lot of my subscribers are not on Facebook at all, but they are coming to the symposium.
Nice.
Yeah. You know, and so there is a community at large. There is a community being built. You know, we are that movement, and we are not alone. There are thousands, if not millions, you know, in collective consciousness using urine therapy as a way to heal themselves and to awaken themselves, regardless of those that still look at it as waste. I look at them and I go, huh, what's waste?
Don't waste your thoughts on that.
You know, I mean, it's just such a contrived notion.
Well, there are times when we feel we need to connect, and we need to be understood, and we need to be touched in certain ways. And Facebook does that for people, particularly people who have made a connection with people. And it's not just the digital text, but thanks to videos and platforms like this, you don't have to ever feel left out, unrecognized, unloved. Even if you got no one who can come over to your place, you can go to New Zealand, or wherever you need to be, face to face.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember a cartoon show called The Jetsons?
No, I love the Jetsons. Meet George Jetson. Da 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 da.
Well, in 1969, they were showing George's wife and daughter on video phones talking to people, and right before his wife, I don't know if Judy was his wife, but right before she went on, a call came from George. Right before she went on, she would press a button, and in 30 seconds her makeup would be on.
Yeah.
She had a perfect face. All of a sudden, she's ready to talk face to face. Well, that was 50 years ago.
Yeah. And where did he work? Spacely Sprockets.
Yeah. He was an IT guy or whatever he did.
Yeah, and his dog Astro.
And what was his maid's name? Rosie.
Rosie, the robot. Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, those were gifts. I mean, I look back at the cartoons that I was being exposed to in my childhood, like Rocky and Bullwinkle. Now, that was a profound show. There was real amazing depth in that. You know, Aesop's Fables, Dudley Do-Right, you know.
Roadrunner.
Roadrunner. You know, and so, you know, even the Flintstones was just simply an emulation of the Honeymooners. It was the cartoon version of the Honeymooners, you know. And, you know, so I looked at all those cartoons and how blessed we were, you know, to have that because when I grew up, man, there was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels. That was it.
Yeah, but you had to get off the couch to go change the TV.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. So, yeah, what a gift this has been. What a joy it's been, you know, and the joy continues, my brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, however we came across on Facebook, it was perfect. I have no idea what it turned out to be.
Yeah. No, I give and receive all the gifts, you know, with love. You know, it's all a cycle. Yeah. You know, we're in it together. And, you know, united we stand. And, you know, I figured that those who don't see it, piss on them. They might grow. But we'll bring that up in urine gardening.
Yeah, that's another show.
No, God. So, yeah, you know, the pee drinking thing, you know, it's profound. It is, you know, people who can't see it, maybe someday they will. And I'm not concerned with them at all. Those who accept, those who receive, will drink their pee and they will be relieved. They'll be glad they did. Yeah.
Well, it's the same as when you're offering something of a spiritual nature or something of a nutritional nature or something of the water of life. People are going to watch all the users of SHIVAMBU to see how their health is turning out, how their joy is manifesting, how their life is improving. We can talk all we want. If you walk the talk, people are going to notice.
Yeah, well, and I even got a comment today, you know, because I get new subscribers on the channel every day. And people go through the catalog. You know, some of them are, you know, it's like instead of going to Netflix, they're binging on Urine Therapy, you know, and I think that's so cool. But I get comments all the time at people that have seen my earliest videos. And they say, man, you look 15 years younger than you did when you started. And I just say, thank you, you know, and I feel it. You know, I'm reversing. I'm heading in the other direction. I'm going to be.
Yeah, you don't have to change that.
No,
you have to get a new medicine.
No, you know, I mean, I really want to experience that child. You know, I have no interest in being a decrepit old man. I want to be an enthusiastic child of wonder. And I am.
Yes, and so am I. And I'm always in awe of how the universe operates and how everything is choreographed. The moment you show up, things are there, people are there, resources there, and I didn't really do it. I mean, I was an open vessel, but it humbles you to realize that things are actually in perfection right now.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's all perfect. So before we go, I'm gonna promote again. I do want to welcome people to join the High Vibe Tribe. You can friend me on Facebook. I welcome you to donate towards the development. The book is now in the hands of the publisher. I've made the initial payment. I have 2 more payments to make in the following months. So if you'd like to have a signed and numbered copy of the ORIN Oracles, Book 1, I welcome you to donate $25 towards into the paypal.me/Weedu, and you will receive a signed and numbered copy of the book, and you will also be included within the text of the book with acknowledgement and blessings and thank yous. So that being said,
you're worth it.
Yeah,
you're worth it.
Thank you. And also those that are even thinking about it, go ahead, sign up for the symposium. Registration's only $35, which is a giveaway. It really is. There's, you know, so much investment being made that is not about the registration. So go to the waterlifesymposium.com, click on registration and follow the prompts. And you too can be a part of that conversation. You too can be in the celebration. You too can be drinking pee with the many.
And don't worry about bringing a cup. They'll give you a cup.
They'll even provide the cup, you know, for... It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. So, anything else you'd like to add?
Yes. Only love is real. Don't look outside yourself for anything that's going to make you more whole than you already are. Just love and serve everybody and watch the magic happen.
Yes, be the magic as it happens. Yeah. I still love you, my friend. You are such a dear heart. You are.
As you are.
And I really appreciate all the work you've done and what you do and who you are. Your true gift.
Thank you.
A real gift. And so,
I feel that.
yeah. And so,
I feel the same about you. Just keep bringing it on. Your life force is worth hanging around for. Powerful and it's strong. The force is with you.
Yeah. The force is with you. You keep your piece together, right? So, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And until the next time, my friend, you know, just all love.
We'll keep crossing on Facebook.
Yeah. I trust our path.
Right on.
Yeah, we'll just keep holding hands and skipping down the path.
There we go. All the way to Las Vegas. Beyond.
All right. Okay, my friend. Many blessings. I love you.
Blessings to you as well. I love you too. So
Okay.
nice.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
Aloha. Point.
Okay. Bye for now.